Welcome to the Biscuiteers tutorial on how to build the perfect gingerbread house. In this video, we're going to be showing you all the tips and tricks you need to make beautiful structures out of gingerbread, and in particular, a gingerbread house. For those of you that have our amazing DIY gingerbread house kits, you can get those out now and I'll talk you through it. Don't worry if you don't have this, I'm still going to give you everything you need to know to make your own gingerbread house from scratch. So in your kits, you will find an instruction leaflet, plenty of icing bags, a bag of royal icing sugar, some really fun sprinkles, a little pot of red food colouring, and most importantly, your beautiful biscuits. So don't worry if you don't have this kit. I'm going to give you all the tips and tricks that you need to bake the perfect biscuits for gingerbread. We recommend at Biscuiteers that you use a really nice strong dough. So you don't want to use things like shortbread, things with a high butter content, because they'll crumble and they won't hold their shape. And usually if you can resist eating a gingerbread house for any amount of time, you might want to put it on display for a little bit. So you want to bake your biscuits for a nice long time and you want to use a good strong gingerbread recipe. If you're baking your biscuits at home, you can download all sorts of beautiful templates online, and you can also download the Biscuiteers templates so that you can have the exact shapes that we're going to use today. Before you start cutting your pieces, you want it to be really, really nice and cold. So roll it out to the thickness that you want. Pop it in the freezer even if you can, or if not, in the fridge for at least an hour. Cut your pieces as accurately as you can, and then before you bake, you want to pop them back in the fridge for at least half an hour, and then you'll have lots of lovely pieces that keep their shape for you before you start building. Right, so all you'll need is this pack of royal icing ready mix. If you don't have it, don't worry. You can find lots of great royal icing recipes online, and Biscuiteers have a really good video for you to follow if you want to make your own. We definitely recommend using an electric whisk to make icing. It helps to get lots and lots of air in there to make it easier to use. So you don't have to have a big fancy one like this if you've got a little whizzy one, or if you're feeling strong, you can use a handheld whisk, but we recommend that you're gonna probably need to do it for about 10 minutes, so get your muscles out for that. So we're gonna pop our icing in here. Being careful not to get it everywhere. And you're gonna get every last grain in there. Right, next you're gonna need some nice cold water. So I'm gonna add the water really, really slowly and gradually to this. If you add too much, your icing will be too runny and it won't stick things together. The main key to building anything out of gingerbread, if you're using royal icing, is to get the consistency right. If it's too runny, it's going to be very frustrating, and if it's too thick, it's going to be really, really hard to work with. So what we say is that you're aiming for the consistency of toothpaste, roughly. So I'm going to start by just adding 2 tablespoons of water to this, and I'm going to get it going and see how it looks. It doesn't seem like very much, but it does go quite fast, so trust the process. We'll start with 2. You can always add more, but you can't take it away. I'm going to start really slow so that it doesn't go absolutely everywhere. Let's see. Whee! Be patient. It might take a little while to come together, but you definitely don't want to be adding too much water at this stage. So see what 2 tablespoons does for you, and then give it a good couple of minutes before adding anything else. This mix that comes in our kit is a special one because it has extra ingredients that help it be really light and fluffy, and the ratio is just perfect. Okay, so this has had probably about 8 minutes on a good medium speed on here. So let's pull it up and see how we got on. So that is what you're looking for. A really nice sort of stiff peak consistency, similar to that of toothpaste. This is going to hold its shape, it's going to be perfect, it'll help you to glue the bits together, and it'll dry with a really nice sheen, and it's going to be exactly what we're after. So the next thing you're going to do is bag your icing up. So I'm going to tear one off, open it up, and roll the sides right down. You're going to want to open up the inside, and hold it like an ice cream cone, like this. So once you have your little ice cream cone, you can take a spoon of icing out, probably about a tablespoon's worth, and put it down inside. And then you can use your hands to squeeze the spoon and pull it out nice and clean. Pull the sides up. And then what we do at Biscuiteers to get the icing down to the bottom is the helicopter. So you grab it and give it a good spin. And then all your icing goes down to the bottom. Don't cut it first. And don't do that if you're using nozzles, or you'll just have a nice helicopter of icing all over your kitchen. You can push your icing down and then tie this into a knot. There we have it, you're ready to go. And you can use some of your icing to make flood, which is a little bit looser. You add a tiny bit more water and you use it to cover larger areas. So let's do that. You might want to think about how much colour you want to use. If you only want to use a little bit of red, then you can just take less out to make a little bit of red, or if you want it to be mostly white, whatever you want to. Have a little think about what you want to do with your design and work out roughly how much coverage you want. If you want to cover big areas, you're going to want to make a little bit more flood, and if you want to just cover little areas, you can make a little bit less. So I'm just going to make a little bit of red flood. I'm not going to use a lot in my design, so I'm just going to take a little bit. If you've got our kit, you've got this really great Christmas red colour that you can add into your icing, or if you've got anything at home, use whatever you have, any colours you like. This particular gel is quite strong, so we recommend that you only use a really, really tiny bit of it. You could even just apply it with a toothpick or something like that. It's the same as when you're making icing with the water. You can add more, but you can't take it away, so be careful not to add too much. I'm just using the end of this teaspoon here. I'm going to pop it in there and then give it a good mix. So you can see I only put a tiny bit in there and the colour's quite strong. So we've got a slightly pinky consistency at the moment, which is very nice. And if you wanted, you could bag some of this up and keep some pink as well. I'm going to put a tiny bit more in just to make it that classic Christmas red that we're after. So I'm happy with this red colour. Now I can take a bit of it out to make line icing. And with what's left, I can add a little bit of water to make a bit of flood. So I'm going to get trusty water again. And the same old rule, I'm only going to add a little bit at a time. I'm just going to do it with a teaspoon. I'm just going to slowly build it up until it's a bit looser. So with flood icing, you're looking for the consistency of custard rather than toothpaste for line. So what we say at Biscuiteers is that when you draw a line with your flood over the top, it should take about 4 to 5 seconds to disappear. I'm going to pour this into the bottle. So once your flood's all ready, you can do exactly the same for the white. So we're ready to get started. We always suggest that if you want to flood any areas, you do that first. In fact, you're going to fully decorate all your pieces before you start putting anything together. So anything that you want flooded is going to be the first thing to do. In our design, I'm going to have a lovely big white roof, nice snowy roof. So we're going to flood the whole of these large 2-panel pieces in white. So the pro icers at Biscuiteers, we hold our icing bags more like a pen than like traditional bakers that hold it at the top like this, which you absolutely can also do. But to get a bit more control, we pinch our bags about halfway down and give them a twist and hold them in the middle. So we're holding them a bit closer down. It just gives you a bit more control over what comes out at the end. Have a little practice on the table or on some parchment paper or something to see if you're happy with how thick your line is. And if you want it to be a bit bigger, you can cut it some more. So you want to have a little practice with your icing first. We're going to touch the bag down. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. As soon as you see the icing coming out, we're going to lift up and move along. You're going to stay ahead of yourself all the time. This is how you get a really nice, good quality of line. Have a practice before you start on your biscuits. Okay, so we're ready to outline. I'm going to do this as close to the edge as I can. So I'm going to open up the end, touch down, squeeze, 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 lift, lift, lift. Don't worry if it goes wrong or if your line breaks, you can just pick it off and have another go. You need the line to be continuous. If you have any little gaps or breaks in it, it won't hold your flood. So don't worry if it breaks, you can just whip it off and have another go. And if you're really struggling, cut the bag thicker, and yeah, that should hold everything and it will come out slightly easier for you. So that's the outline for my 2 roof panels. In our design, we are going to do a lovely bright red front door on the front panel there. So I am going to do the same on this one. So these are all my pieces outlined and ready to go. I'm going to give them about 5 minutes to dry. They just need to be touch dry before I can flood them. So my panels have had a few minutes to dry and my outline is now hard enough that it won't break when I flood. So here we go. The trick to flooding is to start by going all the way around the edge and fill in working end sections. So let's go for it. The reason we go around the edge first is to just stop us from overfilling. You can sort of work inwards towards the middle. If you start in the middle and then work outwards, you tend to overfill and then end up with an awful mess in your oven or on your countertop. So I'm going to use the nozzle to just sort of push the icing around and fill it up. I'm not even squeezing at the moment, I'm just moving it around. So you're going to need a little stick. A cocktail stick is perfect if you don't have one of these. And we're going to just go in and we're going to pop all those little bubbles out. So you get a really lovely flat finish. Okay, so now we have our pieces all flooded. Once you finish flooding them, they need to go into your oven as low as it can go, around 50 degrees for about half an hour. Keep an eye on them. The bigger the piece, the longer it will need in the oven. So just make absolutely sure when you take it out that it's nice and hard, ready to detail, and then it will be nice and strong for when you start constructing your house. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our roof piece. For our design, we're going to do a sort of nice crisscross, some drip details, and we're going to use the brilliant sprinkles that we've got in the kit. At home you can use whatever you like, even sweets and gummy drops and all sorts of amazing delicious things. I'm going to have a little think about where I want my crisscross to go. I'm going to find the middle at the bottom and I'm going to take it up to the top left hand corner, my left. When you're traveling long distances, it's a little bit hairy because your line can break. So give a really good pressure, be brave, stay ahead of your line. It's easier to ice towards yourself than away from yourself. So if you want to, you might want to start your process at the top and come down. Okay, so we've done our lines and now I'm going to do a little sort of drip pattern, like a classic gingerbread house type icing technique. So what I'm going to do is 3 drips. I'm going to start by doing a really big squeeze, keeping my icing bag in exactly the same spot. Squeeze, 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 and then slowly dragging it back and down to make a sort of drip shape like that. Okay, so while your little drips are still nice and wet, we're going to take our sprinkles and we're going to add them into the centers here. You want them to still be nice and wet, so don't do every single drip across the top of the roof, otherwise they won't stick on. So I'm going to do these really cool ball ones. You can get amazing sprinkles, all different kinds, all different colours. And also you can watch our video on how to make your own sprinkles, which is really, really fun. And it's a great thing to do with children because it doesn't really require any particular skill. Okay, so for our front piece, we've got our lovely little bright red door that we iced earlier and flooded. It's nice and hard and ready for detailing. So with my red, I'm gonna do a little bit of door detail. So let's give it a nice little window. If you've got more colours at home, you could put a lovely little green wreath on your door. Or if you've got some green sweets or green sprinkles, you could do a cute little wreath there as well. And then on the sides of ours, we're going to do a sort of candy cane type pattern. So first off, I'm going to do a column of white on either side. So I'm going to take my lime white icing and I'm going to draw myself a little white column there. And then I'm going to fill it in with the white. So you're going to do a sort of zigzaggy motion. So I'm staying really low and close to the biscuit. And I'm giving my bag a really good squeeze. And just moving left and right and slowly filling it up. And then to give it that candy cane feel, I'm going to get my red again. And I'm going to do little diagonal stripes across. Okay, so we've used our really lovely big round sprinkles for the top. For the side, I'm going to use these little kind of classic hundreds and thousands. If you've got a nice flat plate, or even if you have our amazing kit, I would suggest that you empty these out into the lid of the tin. And I do it really gently because they ping everywhere. There we go. A really, really fun technique, another really good one for the kids, is to put some icing onto your biscuit and then dip it in there, and it picks up all the sprinkles, and it's really fun and bright and really effective. So it's a great one for kids. So I'm going to do some really nice big dots on the bottom here. Perhaps I'll do a big one and then maybe just getting a little bit smaller. Spread these out, and while they're still really nice and wet, don't leave it too long. I'm going to take that and I'm going to dunk it in there. Give it a really good press and a little jiggle to try and pick up as many of those sprinkles as possible. And then, ta-da! It's really fun, picks up the sprinkles beautifully and just adds a bit of colour in there as well. So then, as this is the side of our house, we can put some little windows, some hearts. You can add some more of the balls if you like. Let's do a couple of windows, shall we? Make them the right size, roughly, same as each other, as best I can by eye. If you want, you can mark it all out beautifully beforehand, measure everything and have it super accurate, or just go for it. So I'm going to add some classic gingerbread house swirls. So pressure is really helpful when you're doing things like this. I'm going to put a load of pressure in, I'm going to squeeze really hard, squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then as I come away, I'm going to take the pressure off. And then squeeze again, squeeze, 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 squeeze. So once your pieces are all iced and dry and you're happy with them, we are ready to put your gingerbread house together. So first, you're going to take all your leftover white icing, chuck it into one bag and cut the end nice and thick so your icing comes out fast and thick and good for you to stick everything together. You're going to need to find a board that you're happy to live without for as long as you want your gingerbread house. You're going to need lots of bits and bobs from your kitchen to prop things up. This is a little bit of a lengthy process, so be patient. The key is to allow bits to dry properly. So we're going to build all the base pieces, the walls and the front and the back. We're going to give that maybe 20 minutes to dry, and then we'll put the roof on. So I'm going to just grab a glass to start with, and I'm going to take my side piece and I'm going to do a really big healthy squidge of icing all down the bottom. Here we go. You don't have to be neat about this. And then I need to think about where I want it to go. So I am going to put it down there. And I'm just going to rest it up against my cup while I prep the other bit. So that's our first piece on the board. And then I'm going to take the front bit. So you're going to want to put your icing on the bottom edge and on the inside along here where it's going to get glued onto that side. So I'm going to put a nice healthy zigzag along there. Don't worry if it's mucky, you won't see it. And if you need to add more after, you can. You can always add extra icing to the inside to make sure that it's really nice and strong and it doesn't go anywhere. It's going to go on the end. So I'm going to stick it down and to the edge of this one. And then I'm going to just bring my cup over so it's got something to balance on. Royal icing is really strong, so you can trust it. And then we're just going to keep going. We're going to work our way around. All right, so we've left this for about 20 minutes or so it's nice and dry, nice and strong, and we're ready to put our roof on. I'm going to put really big blobs all along there and all along the top. Our roof piece in this set is a bit bigger, so it will overhang, so don't worry too much if it's a bit messy, because you probably won't see it. And if you are making your own gingerbread house from scratch, or you're making your own templates, I would definitely advise that you allow for that when you do your roof. So you make that piece wider and longer than you think it needs to be. And then it will overhang nicely and it will cover a multitude of sins underneath. So we're going to take our roof piece and I am just going to rest it on there and slide it down into place. That's the first one. I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to do exactly the same thing on this side. So you're going to want to leave that with your little glasses under for at least 20 minutes. Okay, so once it's dry, you can take your props away. We've got a little gap along the top there. So I am going to fill it in with my trusty white icing and do really big, generous zigzag across the top to fill in that space. And there we have it. So you've finished your gingerbread house. We hope that you have enjoyed making it as much as we have, and join us for other amazing tips and tricks on how to make beautiful ice biscuits. Thanks.